Good morning, class. Let's do quadratic inequalities. After this lesson, we will be able to solve any quadratic inequality and we will get them right. After this lesson, we are not going to have a problem with quadratic inequalities. So we will cover 3 questions, all are from past papers. So this is generally how it is tested. It varies from 4 to 5 marks. I will show you an easy method to solve it. Let's start with the first question. In the first question, the first step is to take everything to the left-hand side. So step 1 is to take everything to the left-hand side. So we have 2x squared minus 2 minus 3x greater than or equal to 0. Right. Now we can rearrange this to make it look neater. So we have 2x squared minus 3x minus 2 greater or equal to 0. We will treat this as a quadratic equation. So 2x squared minus 3x minus 2 equals to 0. We can now solve for x. Now there's multiple ways to solve for x. You can use quadratic formula. If you have a silver or white Casio, you can plug it into that and you can get your answer. So if you use quadratic formula, then a is the coefficient of x squared, so a is 2. B is the coefficient of x, so b is minus 3. And c is whatever's remaining, so c is minus 2. Plug this into your quadratic formula, and you know your formula is x is equal to minus b plus minus b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. If you plug that in, you will get 2 answers. However, in this case, I am going to solve it using factorization. So I know since this is 2x squared, on one of my brackets I'm going to have 2x and on the other I'm going to have x. The numbers need to multiply and give me minus 2. So I'm going to try minus 2 there and plus 1 here. And I see that this factorizes the equation. There will be another video going in detail on factorization where you can learn on how to factorize trinomials quickly. Given this factorization, we will get 2x plus 1 equals to 0 and x minus 2 equals to 0. This tells us that x is equal to, if I have to solve it, minus 1 over 2. And here I have x is equal to 2. If I use quadratic formula or use my calculator, I'll end up with the same 2 answers. I'm now going to use my 2 answers to plot a parabola. So I'm going to draw my x-axis. So this is my x-axis. Now let's use these 2 points. So the first point, or the smaller point, is minus a half. So on my x-axis, I'm going to plot minus a half. My second point is 2. So I'm now going to plot 2. This is positive 2x squared, or my a value is 2. Since there is a positive coefficient of x squared, that means this is a happy face parabola. So therefore, if I have to draw this parabola, it is a happy face. Perfect. Now, you need to draw vertical lines wherever it touches the x-axis. So you'll draw a vertical line there. You'll draw a vertical line there. When the graph is above the x-axis, we call it positive. When it's below the x-axis, it's negative. So that is positive because it's above over there. It's also above here, so that's positive as well. So let me just highlight. So this is above. It is positive. If it is below, it is negative. So that is negative. We want it to be greater than or equal to 0. That means positive. Where are the positive regions? It's this green, it is the green parts. So if we have to take that region, we can write it as x greater or equal to 2. We keep the sign as equal to because in the question it says greater or equal to 0. And the other positive region is this green part here, and that's everything less than minus a half. So that we can write as x less than or equal to minus a half. And that's your solution. So there we see our solution, x greater than or equal to 2 and x less than or equal to minus a half. For our understanding, I'm going to show you a few more examples. If we end up solving for x, and for example that's minus 1 and that's 3, we will draw vertical lines, and then your regions that these vertical lines create are, the region that's on the right hand side of 3 becomes x greater than 3, the inner region is x less than 3 greater than minus 1, and the region on your left is x less than minus 1. So that's always how the signs are. The greater than or equal to sign depends on the question. So in this question, they had a greater than or equal to sign. That's why we included the equal to sign in our answer. In this case, we're assuming that it was either strictly greater or less than. Perfect. So given an interval, this is how we split it up. So given two x-intercepts, this is how we split it up into intervals. Let's do another example. Let's assume you found two x solutions, x is equal to 1 and x is equal to 4. If you had those solutions, your intervals now become, so you will draw a point at 1 and a point at 4. You can then draw your dotted lines. So all I'm teaching you here is how to set up your intervals. The interval on the right of 4 is x greater than 4. It could be x greater or equals to 4 as well. It depends on the question. The middle region is x less than or equal to 4, greater than or equal to 1, and the region on the left is x less than or equal to 1. So that's a quick recap on how you set up your intervals given two x solutions. Okay, now that we've done that, let's move on to the next question. X squared is less than minus 2x plus 15. Okay, the first step is to take everything to the left hand side. So we have x squared minus 2x goes to the other side as positive, so it's positive 2x. Positive 15 goes to the left as minus 15, and there'll be nothing left, so we'll have less than 0. The next step is to treat this like an equation. So x squared plus 2x minus 15 is equal to 0. You can solve this using your calculator again or quadratic formula, but I will choose to factorize, and you can watch a video of mine that teaches you how to factorize trinomials. So if we have to factorize this, it becomes x minus 3, x plus 5 is equal to 0, and we have two solutions, x is equal to 3 or x is equal to minus 5. The next step is, now that we have our x solutions or x intercepts, we can draw our parabola. That's our x-axis. We plot the smaller number first, which is minus 5. Then we plot the bigger number, which is 3. There is a positive coefficient of x squared, and that's 1. Therefore, this is a happy face parabola again. After we draw our parabola, we know to draw our vertical lines. In our question, we want it to be less than 0. Less than 0 means negative. Negative means below the x-axis. So we're looking for everything below the x-axis, and that's that region there. And as previously discussed, we know how to write the middle region. It will be x less than 3 greater than minus 5. And that becomes your solution, and we are done. 4 marks. The reason there's no equals to sign is because in the question there was no equals to sign. In the question it was a strict less than sign, and therefore in our answer it will also be strict less than signs or greater than signs. Okay, now we can move on to the third question. In this question, we also see that there are numbers both on the left and right hand side. So our first step will be to open the brackets. So x times x is x squared. x times minus 1 is minus x greater or equal to 6. We can then take 6 to the left hand side. So x squared minus x minus 6 is greater or equal to 0. We can now write this here as an equation. So we can say x squared minus x minus 6 is equal to 0 and solve for x. I am going to factorize this again. So this becomes x minus 3, x plus 2 equals to 0. Again, you don't need to factorize. You can just use the quadratic formula. After solving, I get x is equal to 3 or x is equal to minus 2. These two solutions, you'll get the same solutions if you use quadratic formula. So you don't need to know how to factorize to do quadratic inequalities. Now that we have x is equal to 3 and x is equal to minus 2, let's draw them on the number line. So if I draw my x axis, I'm going to plot my smaller point first. It's very important. Plot your smaller point first, minus 2. Then your bigger point, which is 3. This is x squared, therefore it has a positive coefficient of 1. Therefore it's a happy face. So if I have to draw this parabola, it will be a happy face. In our question, we want it to be greater than or equal to 0. Greater than or equal to 0 means positive. If we want it to be positive, that would mean above the x-axis. So that's our positive values. Positive values. How do we write the inequalities for the positive values? You can draw a dotted line here and a dotted line here. The region on this side is x greater than 3, as previously discussed, and the region to the left of minus 2, where it's positive, is x less than minus 2. And that becomes your two solutions, x less than minus 2 and x greater than 3. And we are done with quadratic inequalities.